Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Michelle, and here on this channel I make all sorts of mommy content. So if that's kind of videos that you're interested in, I'd love for you to consider hitting that red subscribe button so you can see whenever I have a new video. But today I am going to be doing my long-awaited first trimester update because obviously I am way past that point. If you guys watched my previous video about how I found out I was pregnant, I said that I am actually almost 22 weeks pregnant at this time, and so I'm really behind on the videos. It's just been a whirlwind being pregnant with a toddler and working and everything and life. So I'm gonna go through the first trimester. I feel like with this pregnancy and also with my daughter's pregnancy, there's not always a ton going on in that first trimester in terms of like your symptoms and things like that. They all tend to be, for me, very similar. So I'm gonna kind of run through my symptoms for each weeks from week 4 to week 13. And then I'm gonna do my same setup that I did with my daughter's pregnancy. So I'm gonna talk about symptoms, then cravings and aversions, and then appointments, and then any other special information or special things that happened that week. So I wrote everything down because you know that I would obviously have forgotten because it's been so long, it feels like, since I was at that point. So week 4, baby was the size of a poppy seed, which is super small. Symptoms I had were bloating, sore breasts, cramps, like really bad cramps. Week 5, baby was the size of a peppercorn. Symptoms were bloating, sore breasts, cramps, same as the week before. Week 6, baby was the size of a blueberry. I had bloating, sore breasts, tired, felt like I needed to nap, and headaches. Week 7, baby was the size of a raspberry, bloating, nausea started, and sore breasts as well. The nausea wasn't as bad as when it hit me with my daughter. Week 8, baby's the size of a strawberry, nausea, cravings started that week. Sore breast, noticeable bump that didn't feel like it was going away. Like for the other weeks it felt like bloating, but this week in week 8 it really felt like it was there all the time no matter what, and it was starting to get to the point where I was like, how am I gonna hide this bump for the next like 4 weeks? Like at work, before I even announce or anything like that, like how am I gonna hide this? So it was a noticeable bump. And then also I had a lot of congestion that week. Week 9, hormones were out of control. I had a lot of acne, like just I say a lot, but I'm not a person who has a lot of acne on a regular basis. So for me, like any acne is serious. But mostly here, like on my lower cheek, close to the jawline, I had some acne there. Physically tired, but not needing to nap. So I felt like I didn't have as much fatigue where I felt like I needed to be sleeping all the time, but physically I could just feel that my body was just drained. Like I was just tired in general, but not to the point where I was like falling asleep, which was nice because being pregnant with a toddler and working and you just don't have the time to sleep. That was my biggest worry about having another baby or like being pregnant a second time, was like, how am I going to manage like the symptoms of first trimester with a toddler? Like how am I going to manage my day? But luckily, like I didn't have as much fatigue in the sense of needing to nap. I also had increased appetite and also still congested. Week 10, did I say week 9, baby's the size of a cherry? I don't even remember. Week 10, baby's the size of a kumquat. TMI, but it's a pregnancy update, so like discharge was a thing. Lightheaded due to like the increase in blood flow. Week 11, baby was the size of a Brussels sprout. Less nauseous, still had discharge, and I had a lot more gas pains, which have been a real challenge for me this time around. Week 11, baby's the size of a plum. Again, discharge, some heartburn, which was new for me, and gas. And week 13, baby's the size of a jalapeno, and I had more cravings, discharge, some constipation, which is, I feel like, inevitable, and increased interest in having some quality time with my husband. And that was it for my symptoms, mostly for weeks 4 to 13. So a lot of them were the same week after week. And then towards the end of first trimester, I felt like that's when all my symptoms kind of started to change. In terms of my cravings or aversions, so I was really into carbs. I feel like most carbs sounded good to me, so I was wanting to have that as much as possible. Also helped with being nauseous. Apple juice was a real thing. I love to drink apple juice. Pizza, I could eat pizza every single day and not be bothered by that. Chicken is like my meat of choice. Like, I could eat chicken every day in any form. Like, I'm just happy to have chicken. And then fruit, like I was really loving a lot of fruits, like watermelon, especially because it's the summertime. As the summertime started to hit, more so watermelon, but like apples, like cantaloupe, some strawberries, like I was just loving fruit. In terms of my aversions, rice was not a thing for me, which makes my husband very sad. Beef, like, was not something I was interested in. And then drinking water, like I hated water. Water just, I was choking it down to just try and make it through. Like, I've never felt like I've disliked water more in my entire life than I did in that first trimester. In terms of appointments, I am again with a midwife. I was with a midwife for my daughter's pregnancy and for her birth as well. And I really, really loved it. And I thought, you know what, I will stick with this as long as I possibly can. Like, if there was ever an issue where I had to go and be with an OB, I would not hesitate, but I prefer the care of the midwife. So I went through to my week 8 appointment. So with Mia's pregnancy, I didn't go to see the midwife until I was probably closer to 10 weeks. But this time they were able to see me. I think the earliest they'll see you is 8 weeks, but there really isn't much to do at that appointment. So basically we went through how things work, like being with a midwife, met my new team. So I'm on the same team as I was before, but the midwives have changed on that team. So I was meeting some of the new midwives on my team, going through medical history, giving an update on how the pregnancy was going. And then they gave me a requisition to do a dating ultrasound. So that was really exciting. And then I did do the dating ultrasound when I was 9 weeks pregnant. My due date changed by 1 day, so I haven't said that yet, but my due date is actually December 4th, which is super exciting because I would really love to have, like, I consider that like a Christmas baby, like a December baby. So we'll see what happens. My daughter, Mia Rose, came a week early, so we'll see what this baby decides to do. Baby was growing well, had a strong heartbeat of 167 beats per minute, and I felt very like relieved finally being able to see the baby, because obviously when I went for my 10-week appointment last time with my daughter, I was able to hear her heartbeat at that appointment, but at this point they said they weren't able to get it on the Doppler, so at that week 8 appointment I didn't get to hear her heartbeat. So it was nice to do the dating ultrasound and be able to see that everything was okay. And there were a lot of other things that were going on that would help me to feel like really relieved by the week 9 ultrasound, but I'm going to get into that. 12-week ultrasound, which is typically the genetic screening, looking for things, markers for Down syndrome and a few other things. I was nervous after my appointment with the midwife because I just feel like it's always such an overwhelming conversation when they talk about, you know, looking into genetics, what would you consider doing, like, because they don't know what people want, so they don't know if I'm open to terminating the pregnancy, if there's something wrong, or do I want to continue. And they're very like, it's up to you if you want to do it or not. And so it's like just like a stressful conversation, and I still felt like having that conversation with Hwang was just very like, do we want to do it? I am of the belief that I would never terminate if it was a situation where I have control over that. And so I kind of felt like, do I need to know? Is it going to stress me out? But I like to be prepared, and it was just that whole discussion. But in the end, we decided to do it. Baby was well, we're able to see everything, and so that appointment went really well, and I did get the results back from that, and everything is completely normal, so we're very excited about that. In terms of special information, and this is something that I feel like I wanted to emphasize, was how bad my cramps were weeks 4 and 5. Like, I had extreme cramps that felt like menstrual cramps. Like, it felt like I was going to get my period at any point for 2 weeks straight. And I was so nervous and so stressed out. I remember when I went to go do my initial blood work, so my family doctor had given me 6, like a requisition with 6, like I could go 6 times to get my blood drawn to check for HCG, because I had times where I was late and I was like, you know, and then I don't know, and this and that. So she's like, I'm going to give this to you so you don't have to come in every time to get a requisition from me for blood work. So I had those, and so when I got my positive pregnancy test, I went like the next day to go and do the blood work to see what my levels were. And because I went so early this time from when I went with my daughter, obviously my numbers were lower. At this point, I can't remember exactly what they were. I probably would be able to look them up, but I think it was like 52, and then I went back again in like 2 weeks, because when I went by the time with my daughter, I feel like my HCG was just out of control, and my hormones were so crazy that I think that's why I was so nauseous, because the levels I had were common for people who were having twins. So I just felt like there was just so many hormones going through my body last time, and that's why my pregnancy, I feel like, was so different. Whereas this time, like by the time I went for week 6 of blood work with her, it was off the charts. And this time, obviously, I just found out, and I was going at like basically about that time 4 weeks pregnant, so like 2 weeks earlier. So it was a 52, and I was so nervous about it, and I went back again in 2 days to see if it doubled, and it actually tripled. So I was really happy about that, but still feeling overwhelmed and like stressed, because the cramps were so bad that every time I would go to the bathroom, I was checking to see if my period had come. And every time I was feeling like I needed to run to the bathroom to see if my period was there, because I was in so much pain. I was like into tears. I was having to take Tylenol, which I hate to take anything while pregnant if I can avoid it. But I was having to take Tylenol because I was just in so much pain, and I just was crying to my husband on a daily basis, being like, something is wrong, like this can't be normal. And I'm sure it's something that happens to people, and my midwife did say, you know, like that can happen and that can be normal for some people. And so I just wanted to like say that to you guys. So if any of you are out there pregnant, you've experienced this, or if anybody comes across this video and they've been experiencing that they'll know that sometimes that does happen, because I just felt so alone. I hadn't told anybody I was pregnant yet at that point. So I didn't have anybody to confide in, anybody to talk to about it. And at that point, it's like, if something goes wrong, or you know, you do lose the baby, you have a miscarriage, there's nothing that the doctors can do for you. So it just felt like there's nothing to do but just kind of play that waiting game. And that's why when I didn't get to hear the heartbeat at my week 8 ultrasound, I was so upset, because I was hoping to get some reassurance that everything was okay. So when my 9-week dating ultrasound happened, when I had my dating ultrasound at 9 weeks, I was like so nervous going in that they weren't going to see anything, or there wasn't going to be a heartbeat. And when I saw the baby and I heard what the heartbeat was, I was so excited. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because it just made me nervous. I feel like I've been very nervous this pregnancy versus my daughter's pregnancy. Part of that I feel is because I was just really naive when I was pregnant with her. I just felt like, what's gonna go wrong? Nothing's gonna go wrong. The thought of something not working out the way it should didn't even really cross my mind. And I feel like that's how like naive I was, or just how like it wasn't on my radar. I didn't think anything was gonna happen. I was like, she's gonna be fine and everything is fine and everything is normal. I'm not really concerned. Like if something happened, my husband would be like, call the midwife, like call their hotline. And I would just be like, I'm sure it's fine. I'll ask them at the next appointment. Like I was never really rattled by anything. And this pregnancy, because it's been so different from her pregnancy, and it's just, I've just been so rattled more often than not. I've been stressed because I'm like, why is this different? Why is this not like this? And so I feel like I've been more nervous this pregnancy. I've definitely been more stressed about how things are going. And I feel like this time I just know more about what could really happen. And I've known people who have had a miscarriage, or I've seen videos of YouTubers that I watch who've had a miscarriage, and I guess it just feels like it's more real and it's something that could happen, and it makes me a little bit more nervous this time around. But other than that, there were some really exciting things that did happen in the first trimester, which was when I announced to my family. So I told my family, and Huynh told his family at about 8 weeks. I wasn't gonna say anything, but I just felt like I couldn't hide my symptoms anymore, and I couldn't hide my stomach. It just was like becoming too much. And I feel like if anything were to go wrong, my family would be the first people that I would turn to, so why hide it from them in that sense? So I did tell them at 8 weeks, and it worked out perfectly because when I turned 8 weeks, actually when I turned 8 weeks with Mia, I announced to my family as well, and it was actually Father's Day, so I did like a cute cake and stuff, and it was nice because everybody was there, and it was just like a really special moment. And then when this time around, when I turned 8 weeks and I announced, it was actually Easter, so that was really exciting. I did like an egg hunt for the kids, and I had like one special egg. It was like this big gold egg, and I put a little chick inside, and I had a little paper that said baby number 2 hatching December 2019, and I put that in, and I was like, whoever finds the big golden egg, it's like a really big prize. And so it was nice for the kids to come, and they were looking for the egg and waiting to open it up, and when they opened it up, everybody was looking to see like what is in this big gold egg. So it was a really like cute announcement. And then obviously before that, we told Mia Rose, and she's just, I mean, she's 2.5. She just doesn't really, she gets it, but she doesn't get it. Like she looks and she's like, I don't see a baby. And she looks at my belly button and she's like, Mommy, I don't see baby. So I think she's on and off. Like she knows there's a baby in there and she's gonna have a brother and sister, but on a daily basis, she doesn't really think about it. But it was so cute to see her like reaction to be like, what? And like rubbing the belly and stuff like that. And it was just special to tell her and have her know like what's going on. And then I did announce at about 12 weeks, I announced online, and I guess at that same time I announced at work after I had that 12-week ultrasound, and I felt like, okay, things are going well. I did announce online to family and friends, and then on Instagram and stuff, and so that was really exciting because it just felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders to be able to tell everybody the big news and just have it be like I could talk about it freely, and it was something out in the open. So that just felt really nice. Like there's always something so exciting about telling people, but also so exciting about other people being in the loop. Just makes it feel more real because it's not just me and my husband who know, it's just like everybody knows. So that was really exciting. And that was pretty much it for the first trimester. It's kind of like a lot happened, but not really, I don't know. But yeah, that's it for my first trimester update. I am going to do my weeks 14 to 20 update all together, and then it'll be every 2 weeks from there on out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful, informative. If you guys are having those experiences as well, and if you know anybody who's pregnant, may be experiencing some of these things, you know, share that with them so that they know that they're not alone. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below and let me know if you guys are in your first trimester, or if you guys are pregnant, what have you been going through, and I will see you guys in my next video. Love you guys. Bye.